Good afternoon, everybody. On this beautiful, sunshiny day, at least in Western Michigan, I think it looks like it's a pretty nice day in most of Michigan. But we're not here to talk about the weather, are we? I want to make sure we've got a good number of people. Give it just a few seconds. But let not your heart be troubled. This just emboldens us. Is anybody surprised at all by what transpired today? I know I'm not. And I think as we go through the steps of seeing what's transpired over the last, say, 3 or 4 days, culminated in what happened today, but it was all in the cards. We mentioned that there would be so-called legal challenges that would either be brought up or dealt with yesterday or today. So I think we've got enough people rolling in, and it's good to see the comments flowing. We appreciate all of you, and I understand your sentiments about the governor. But let's face it, she is right now on a trajectory of defeat. She's on a trajectory of losing credibility at all turns, and this is probably one of what I'm going to say is the most egregious of all of the things, and probably not the hill to die on. But I don't think she can handle the people getting a victory in anything in her mind. Ultimate and absolute power is what she has claimed for the last year plus, and it isn't about you. And so let's just go back to a few days ago. Um, the first thing that happened, of course, was a gigantic hurdle, probably the biggest hurdle, and that is that the signatures were indeed identified and verified and certified that we had enough signatures. When that came down, and there were no other challenges that made any sense, and we were told that we had 460,000 signatures at 100% accuracy. That again is 120,000 more than we need, or about a third more than what was needed. Don't know if those numbers or percentages have ever existed before in a petition initiative. Probably not. But it showed again the quantity and the quality of the work that we, the people, did over the course of last summer. In October, of course, it was considered unconstitutional on the same day we turned in the petitions. And of course, all of our executive orders were dialed back from there. The legislature, as you know, House and Senate, both passed legislation that asked for the law to just be repealed, and we wouldn't even be here. But the governor vetoed that bill. She vetoed an unconstitutional law, according to none other than a Supreme Court of the state of Michigan. At the same time, all of the Democrats were on record of voting in favor of keeping a law that's unconstitutional on the books. So they fall lockstep in line with the governor and whatever she says. They don't represent their people. They certainly don't represent law, and they do not represent their oath of office. They do not protect the Constitution in any way, shape, or form. So we move forward to the next big hurdle was we heard within 24 hours after that recommended that the canvassing board approve the petition. We had a press conference that was scheduled with the attorney general. We did not know how that was going to go because, as you were fully aware, last year in the summer, they threw up these crazy information about circulators. That was you, or indeed some of the paid circulators being unscrupulous people who were having to lie to people to get them to sign. And we all know no one was having to be lied to be signed. At the same time, the Keep Michigan Safe, which, by the way, is a perfect logo, is a mask over top of people, which means sit down, shut up, do what you're told, and we're going to keep Michigan so-called safe, meaning we're going to keep the power of one. The governor is going to have ultimate power over you and unilaterally over everything that you do. And so when we went through all of that process back in the summer of last year, that Keep Michigan Safe had sent a letter to the UAW and to others raising money to reelect the governor. But the entire purpose of that particular, we talk about dark money PAC being put together, and that was to retain the power for the governor to make sure this unlocked petition was not successful. And they continue to fight that process all the way up and through today. And yesterday, and along with these last few months, they have continued to throw up ridiculous and crazy and illegal complaints or stupid complaints, including, of course, what we've never looked into deeply is the individual who actually was on camera, was one of the complaints, asking if she could sign for her husband. And as we had mentioned to you, she turned out to be an attorney who had done some work for the Secretary of State, one of the departments. And she was identified on camera. It's a felony to sign something on a document like that. And the governor pointed out, or the attorney general, excuse me, pointed out yesterday that was the only real crime that was identified. But she was offered immunity. Imagine that. Because if she didn't have her immunity, if indeed they had gone forward with prosecuting her, my guess is there might have been a little bit of flipping of who exactly enticed her to take this video or to have this video taken to set up either a volunteer or a paid circulator, whoever it was, in order to try and sabotage what it was we, the people, the citizens in a petition initiative were doing. So we did all the hard work. There was nothing that they could find. They believed we wouldn't get the signatures. Then they believed that they wouldn't be accurate. Then they believed that they just wouldn't verify and validate those. And of course, it did take 6 months to get to where we were. But at the end of the day, the attorney general said, we are closing the investigation. They also mentioned specifically, as did the staff on the Bureau of Elections, that all of these complaints they had no validity. They'd already been dealt with either in court or had been dealt with in the past, and there was nothing to those. Didn't stop them from going today and continuing with those complaints. And as you know, why in the world we would have a board of canvassers with 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, or only 4 of anything doesn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. But citizens initiatives have been around and available. And the whole purpose of those, again, is letting the people's voices be heard, letting you be able to take action as civics minded citizens in order to change the rules in case the legislature or the leadership would not. And in this case, it's exactly what we did. Today, we should have been certified. We should have been before the legislature next week, and we should have been celebrating the repeal of the 1945 law that we've discussed for almost a year. But as you know, there was going to be either a legal thing before or after that was going to throw it up and try and put a halt on this, or at least a delay in this. And that's exactly what they've done. But as it was mentioned here, members Matuzik and Bradshaw refused to certify this. The Board of Canvassers opened an investigation into Unlock Michigan petition, and 2 Board of Canvassers goes through the APA rule-making process. Both of these motions would delay the certification of the petition literally indefinitely. There is not any other, this is not a new delay tactic. Understand, the Democrats have done this before. They tried the same delay with the prevailing wage repeal petition from 2018. Eventually, both Republican and Democrat judges voted that the mandate, the Democrat canvassers members approved the petition and sent it on to the legislature. So there's precedent here. There's also precedent, which is interesting, that one of these Board of Canvassing members have already voted to approve other petitions under these same so-called rules. That's number 2. Number 3, which I think is also vitally important, is these Board of Canvassers' job or responsibility is not to deal with changing law or changing rules. It is simply to follow the procedural process and approve things or deny things based on what the recommendations are from the departments. And in this case, you could even say the Attorney General herself. Everything they talked about, they literally were demanding, the Democrats, another investigation of what no one knows, but they have no ability to order an investigation. And they have the Attorney General saying they are closing the investigations. This is simply not only just a delay tactic, it is an attempt to discourage and anger you, which I know it's angered you, but don't let it discourage you, because they are exposing exactly who it is they are. This is going to be played out in the media. The governor has problems right now that are getting worse between her decisions, her comments, her travels, her excuses, and her inability, even her vetoing this legislation originally, are all going to drive down her popularity. And believe me, that's all in the end that matters to her. It isn't the citizens. It isn't the equal rights and representation. It isn't your ability to have your voices be heard. Those things are all put aside under all Democrats, the 2 Democrats here, all the Democrats who voted on the House side and the Senate side in regard to abolishing and repealing this law. And this is what we have seen over and over again over the last 2 years. It's difficult to talk about elections having consequences. I know I mention it all the time, but the facts are the facts. We elect individuals regardless of the political affiliation, and they either follow their oath of office and the law or they don't. Our responsibility is to rise up individuals who stand for something, who actually have convictions that they hold true under all circumstances, whether it is in their favor or not. This Board of Canvassers' job isn't to look at whether this is a right wing or left wing petition initiative. It is only to identify that whatever the petition is brought before them has enough signatures to carry out the will of we the people. I'm going to repeat that. The will of we the people. The representation form of government that we have, the ability for you to be able to sign your name and be counted as an accurate and honest voter. Now, we needed these same individuals for Keep Michigan Safe and Mark Brewer and the legal team that they have tried to knock out as many of you as they could because of whatever reason they could in analyzing every signature of those 500 in an attempt to create negative press and again, to find a way to block this. But in November and in December and January, we saw absolutely no need whatsoever to even look at the signatures of people who were asking for petitions or mail-in ballots or absentee ballots. No need. We needed to just understand the intent that the person might have had. That was from our Secretary of State. Now, they didn't ask you for your intent because it was listed there, repeal 1945 and Whitmer's endless shutdown, as the Unlock Michigan campaign signs, and we're very clear in what it is that we stood for. One sentence, right? That's all that it was. So that's where we sit right now, and this just means it's going to be a legal battle. Unlock Michigan is going to be preparing to file a lawsuit to get a judge to force this to be to overrule or to break the tie or whatever you want to call it with this Board of Canvassers, and it will happen. We will be victorious in this, but in the meantime, we need to use this as real energy, not energy to show up at the Capitol and complain right now, because this is literally a crazy thing that they've done that will just do more harm to them in the long run. But see, they just can't help themselves. So our job right now is to continue to do what we can to move forward and look forward and know that what you did was validated. The numbers were identified. It was recommended. The investigation was closed. And all we have is Democratic hacks who are simply trying to maintain and control and keep the power for the governor unilaterally for as long as they can. Her days are numbered when it comes to being in control of all of these things. And again, yes, we have things with the legislature, but I've got to tell you that we're going to prevail in this battle and in many others. We are going to get some great national press coverage. As you probably saw, both Fox and Friends did some coverage. The Epoch Times did a great article on what had happened through yesterday. There's a lot of press that's coming, and I just wanted to read you a little bit. We had Americans for Limited Government, who today is chiming in on this, and I just want to read a little bit of this. It says, in Michigan, we are seeing the living and bold embodiment of the old saying that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. In this and other decisions by the Whitmer administration. After having her husband violate the shutdown rules last summer and the governor and her staff violating her admonition about flying, it flies directly in the open. Basically, we talk about the COVID concerns that she supposedly had. It's the height of hypocrisy for the Democrats and the Canvassers Board to deny a citizen's petition to allow all Michiganders to engage in the same freedoms that the governor herself enjoys as she blithely ignores her own edicts. Let me be clear. I don't begrudge the governor, and we talk about this, going to visit her ill father. I do, however, and am angered that through her illegally retaining powers have denied tens of thousands of Michiganders the same ability to visit their loved ones and relatives. In fact, Governor Whitmer should thank Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for rejecting the policies that she follows and allows her and anyone else to comfort and enjoy the parents, spouses, and children who are in their final days. You see, in a free country, that is the individual's decision, not the government's. And the ugly scene of Whitmer's supports of the Board of Canvassers voting to stop the legal efforts to afford the rest of Michigan the same rights that the governor so freely enjoys is an ultimate example of Democratic privilege. Not a bad comment from a national organization leader, and there are many more coming. We are going to get lots of press, and we're going to continue to put pressure on her and on the administration. The Detroit News has already done an article, and just to quote one of the parts there is, let's see here. The Board of Canvassers failed to do its legal duty today to certify the Unlock Michigan petitions. Predictable partisanship from two members is a clear violation of law and every court precedent, disenfranchising more than 540,000 voters who want their voices to be heard. This is going to be playing over and over again, and it's just going to continue to pile on. And yes, we need to indeed to replace all three of these individuals, our governor, attorney general, and secretary of state. That, as you know, can only happen in 2022. All of the talk of recall, it under the rules, it simply isn't possible. If we did it and got the signatures, which would be over 1 million, by the way, then you would create a martyr. It would have to create a special election. And understand that if all of that was to transpire and happen, we would get Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist as your governor. You need to do a little research about the lieutenant governor before you wish him to be your governor. He would also then have the ability to run 2 more election cycles if indeed he was to prevail or she was to lose and he was to be elected. So honestly, we have to replace the political party and its entire administration, not just the one who's at the head. And unfortunately, that's the truth. Let's talk a little bit about the MIOSHA and OSHA situation as well while we're at it. As you know, there are only a handful of states, or if you haven't heard, that are looking to create rules by which OSHA and MIOSHA could ultimately control businesses, their employers, and their customers in regards to masks or other things involving health department and what they would call workplace situations. These are things that are being worked on by our governor and through our health department at this time. These are the consequences of continuing to allow the health department to do what it is they're doing. And it is going to be up to our voices, again, need to be heard. This crosses all political lines. When we start talking about our 2 and 4-year-old children wearing masks, the dangers of that, the lack of not only for their health, but the lack of safety precautions that the mask provides in regards to this virus, especially when they simply 2 and 4-year-olds do not get the virus. If they do, they don't get sick. And in most cases, they certainly don't pass it to anyone else. But more importantly, as you're all aware, 2-year-olds are babies in a lot of ways. It's almost impossible to both keep a mask on them or to have that not become contaminated almost immediately upon putting it on them as they touch it after touching whatever else they touch, and then leaving and breathing through that over long periods of time. We are working right now on getting hearings before our legislature with frontline doctors and experts to be able to inform them. One thing I want to talk to you a little bit more about right now is that understand your legislature is made up of just human beings and people. This is not an excuse by any means. It's saying that they're not medical experts. Not even doctors understand industrial hygiene or understand the oxygen deprivation of the brain and so on. It's not their responsibility to understand or know those things, correct? But those are the issues that are now facing them. But it is their responsibility to bring in those experts to get those on the record, to cover those in the media, and to inform the parents, the school board members, and our legislature, and by the way, their staff and their interns who are spewing information when people make phone calls that are just absolute crap. They are absolutely repeating things they know nothing about. There is nothing wrong with saying, I don't know the answer to that, but I can promise you that we will get the information from experts, pass it along to you, and make decisions based on that information. That is not what's happened to date. Now, our experts that live and reside within the state of Michigan in regard to industrial hygiene, in regards to medical professionals who are testifying all over the nation in legislatures other than our own and are being successful. Some of those, of course, have Republican governors and legislatures. But understand, it's been an uphill battle, even in those states. North Dakota is a perfect example. People from Michigan traveled there and spoke before their Senate and changed their minds, and they passed legislation to not mandate any masks in the state of North Dakota. They've done this in multiple other states as well, but our own legislature has yet to hold hearings in order for them to inform them on the record, put it in the record, and let them hear and see firsthand information that should mold them and embolden them to make decisions and to speak to you and me so that we can not only stand up, because we all know, parents don't know either. They're believing that the fear is real. We want to protect our children. We want to protect grandma and grandpa. We want to protect those around us. Maybe this is what we have to do, and it's what we have to do for our kids to go to school, we'll do it. If it's what we have to do for our kids to play sports, we'll do it. You do not want to give up one freedom for another. More importantly, we have to look at the facts. We have to look at what's there. And so we are working specifically to get these hearings to be held in a very near future, and I can tell you that it is going to happen. There are going to be hearings, and we are lining up the people that are going to be heard there. And we will make sure that those are recorded. We will make sure they're available to you so that you can pass this information along to the school board members you know, to the parent groups that you know, to the churches and church leaders that you know that are making decisions based on false, inaccurate, uninformed information. It is time for us to get active. It's time for us to get out from behind our keyboards and to begin to make a difference. And I'm not talking about marching on Lansing right now. I am not saying we're not going to do that to make a statement. It's important that we begin reacting and acting in our own communities, one community at a time. I keep talking about this, but it is very important you understand what we are doing is different than what anyone else is doing. We are going to deal with election integrity. We are dealing with the legislature and making sure at everything we can that your voices are heard. We also have to begin right now the process of recovery. I am ready. I think you are ready, and most of Michigan is ready to get back to work, to get our kids back to school, to support our local businesses, and to get on with our lives and have the free market work and have individual rights and liberties returned to them. That happens locally first. It doesn't happen at a state or a national level. We can control that along the way and through the process, but it is vital that you get involved. The Stand Up Counties link is at standupmichigan.com. I need you to go there if you have not. If you watch this video, please sign up under your county. You're going to be giving us your name, your county information, and you will be populated into a county list. That list, for those of you that have signed up as leaders or have attended a kickoff meeting or a meeting in your county already, within the next week, you will be getting an email, and the leadership will be getting access to the email list of those that have signed up in your county so that we can begin again connecting with each other one county at a time. It's important, again, that we begin doing positive things in our community. And we're going to do those under the banner of Stand Up Michigan. As a collective group, we can call it like a team. We're creating stickers and things that you can do so that we can thank those people, the frontliners. We can thank the people in the police departments, the fire departments, our frontline workers, and our community members that need to. We can support our local businesses, and we can begin to do some pay it forward, do some things in your community, clean up a park, plant the flowers, raise money for a cause in your community, and begin to do those things as a group of Stand Up Michigan people. I'm talking 3, 4, 500 people in each county minimum, and we're going to want to start doing positive things at the same time. Groups of those will be dealing with the causes that are most important to you. Those causes could very well be things like going to school board meetings, going to township meetings, dealing with issues in regard to trying to run for certain offices. And we're going to offer resources and training for those of you that are willing and able to run to basically replace some of the people that are there who aren't standing up for what we believe in. But we also have to create a positive atmosphere. We have to begin doing positive things because all that really matters is we take care of each other. Our communities used to take care of each other. We didn't depend on the state government or the federal government to send us money or offer us programs to bail us out temporarily while destroying our opportunities at the same time. That's what's been happening. And we have to end up saying, look, we'll take those things when we must, but we also have to begin taking care of each other in our own communities. Churches have got to wake up. The people within the church have to wake up. And in every community, we need to be the solution, not the government. We, the people, are the solution. That's our tagline on these stickers. Our website will be there so more people will understand we're doing positive things in your community. Understand if we are able to, and if we do these things, we will begin to expand and we will begin to be able to handle things at both a local level through your schools, through your Christian schools, through your school boards. We'll be able to make our voices known, and you'll be able to have not just 50 or 100, but 200 people in your own county show up at a meeting. And I can promise you, they listen when big people show up in person, big numbers. And especially when you're talking about including community leaders and people that are already recognized as being those leaders in your community. It's one thing if I show up or one of us or Stand Up Michigan leadership shows up and says something, but it is totally different if people within your own community begin to do things. That's what stand-up counties are going to be about. Now we move into next year. Next year, we identify the right people that need to replace those ones that are not standing up for what we believe in. We're going to identify those people. In the primaries, we're going to win, and we're going to have the army already established that's going to help knock on the doors, put up the signs, get out the vote, all those things. And if you've been doing positive things in your community along the way, you're going to be elected because locally, it's not that difficult to get the job done. Those are the visions that we have. And it's important for you to join with us and spread the word. We have got to have you share this video with other people so that they understand we are not about a political party. We are not about Republicans or Democrats or libertarians. We are about Americans first. We are about defending, again, our sacred values, our citizen rights, our constitutional freedoms, and caring and informing and activating the people to be the solution in your community. You can all remember and recite that, but the important thing is that we begin to activate this and activate you in small numbers. If we haven't had a meeting yet in your county, get to group with 4 or 5 or 6 people and ask for some stickers and start doing the positive things now. And then we're going to be having a meeting in your community very soon. As you know, coming up, we have meetings in Ottawa County Patriots next week on the 27th. We have meetings that are coming up in Barry County, I think in May 15th, Wayne County, May 15th. You'll see those again on our Facebook page. The easiest way to find our Facebook page, go to standupmichigan.com, click on the Facebook link at the top. It will take you directly to Stand Up We the People on Facebook, where we'll hold our lives. We utilize that platform, but you can also at the website join our locals community, which we can put things up there and we can share information with you that we simply aren't going to share on other social media platforms where we'll be censored anyway. So we need you to join the cause and join the fight with us. I will give you updates probably in the next 48 hours as things are changing here. but I wanted to tell you where we were. I want to tell you to keep the faith because we're going to win this battle. We're going to win the war. We are waking up the people. The popularity of this governor and these three are literally crashing as we speak. And we just continue to need to do things. But at the same time, let's just get on with it. Let's just enjoy the summer and the spring. Let's return to normal and let's do things for each other, for our own communities, so that we can change things both at our community level, at our county level, at our state level, and at our national level. And I believe we will. We need you to continue the fight. We need you to continue to share the information. When you go to our Facebook page, please like and follow and invite all your friends. We need those numbers to grow so more people will hear about these lives, and share this video on your platform so other people will be able to see it. You can share it from here on YouTube, or you can share it from that Facebook page. We'll put it on locals as soon as they complete because we can't live broadcast through there yet. We appreciate you joining. I appreciate everything that you're doing in making comments and joining these lives. And I really appreciate you signing up for these counties. We need hundreds of you from every county in order to make a difference. Have a great evening. Enjoy the sunshine. Give a hug to your loved ones, and we'll talk to you soon.